Okay. So yeah, please feel free to interrupt. The second feedback was that some devotees said that they want to donate. But this is a free session, and Krishna did not charge anything from Arjuna to give this knowledge to him, and neither our spiritual masters who have given this knowledge, they have also not charged. So I am also not charging anything. But if people want to donate, then they can donate anywhere they find that Krishna is being worshipped as a supreme personality of Godhead, as Supreme Lord. Yes, and so once again, thank you very much. There are a couple of updates. One update is that I have created a WhatsApp group. If any of you are not been added yet, have not been added yet in that group, so please ping me separately on WhatsApp. You can text me also, and um, yes, and then I will get you added there. If there are, I know a couple of devotees are joining from India also. They can reach out to Udit Prabhu. There is one devotee in our WhatsApp group. Let me mention his name here. Udit Tayal. He is our India organizer for this class, so you can reach out to him, and he will keep you posted on all these updates. The second update is that we are also planning to host a meet for all those students who will regularly be coming on this class, probably end of June or mid of June. So I will keep you posted on that also. Now, let's quickly revise what we discussed in our first class. We'll revise it in a quiz format. So I will ask few questions, and whoever knows the answer, they can raise their hand, or probably they can just ping over chat also, but just to me, not to everyone. Okay, so let's revise quickly. So how many shlokas are there in Bhagavad Gita? Can anyone confirm? Don't answer immediately. I will. You can raise your hand and then I can ask, or they can ping also on WhatsApp. How many texts are there, or shlokas we call it? How many shlokas are there in Bhagavad Gita? Okay, I just got one response, so that response is right. There are 700 texts in. Yes, you are right, Anandam Bro. Okay, who has spoken the first shloka of Bhagavad Gita, chapter 1, text 1? Who has spoken that? Absolutely. Who gave the other answer? I know Anandam Prabhu, you gave one, and then who gave the other answer? Jay Mishra Prabhu. Okay, thank you. That's absolutely right answer. I'm just trying to take a note of who is giving me these answers. Okay, perfect. And then okay, so what is that word Arjuna is using for Krishna when Arjuna says that please take my chariot in between the two armies so I can see the opposite party? So what is that word he is using for Krishna? No. Uvacha means, Uvacha means speaking.
Speaking.
Yes. So that word can be used for anyone. For example, Anarandam is Uvacha. Anarandam Uvacha. Or for example, I am speaking now, so someone can say Ashwini Kumar Das Uvacha.
Vacha.
Yes, yes. So what is that word we are using? He is using for Krishna. He is not saying Krishna, but he is using a specific word to address Krishna. Does anyone remember that? No. Sampath Prabhu is saying Govinda. Govinda, no. He uses Govinda also many times. But first time when he is addressing Krishna, he is not using Govinda. He uses many words, Govinda, Madhusudan, many words. But the first time, that is a specific word.
Madhusudan.
Huh?
Madhusudan.
He uses Madhusudan also, but later in the text.
In the text, sir.
Huh?
Madhava.
Not Madhav. He uses Madhav also, but not as a first time he addresses Krishna. He uses Madhav also, but not the first time he addresses Krishna. You are right though, but not the first time he addresses. So he uses this word achyut. And we
Achyut,
discussed,
okay.
right. And we also discussed the meaning of this.
Chutan, yeah.
Yeah, the one who can never fall down from his position. For example, CEO of the company can fall down. He can become the beggar on the street. Then he will not be known as a CEO of the company. But Krishna is not like that. He is always the Supreme Lord, no matter he is driving the chariot of Arjuna, no matter he is stealing the butter of the cowherd girls in the houses of cowherd girls, or no matter he is, having association of cows and cowherd boys there in Vrindavan. Okay, perfect. So, okay, the last question is, what happens to Arjuna after Krishna takes the chariot in the middle of the battlefield? And then we'll start the second chapter. So what happens to Arjuna when his chariot is placed in between the two armies? Someone will have to go on unmute and probably speak. Yes, Nehamata, you wanna answer?
He refuses to fight. He
Yes,
he says he cannot kill his own family.
absolutely. He says that, what are you asking me to do? These are my grandfather, great grandfather. This is my teacher who taught me how to, archery. So I cannot kill them at all, not at all. So he refuses to. I mean, he will refuse today. Last time he just showed the symptoms of not doing fighting, but today we will see that he will say no, not to fight, and then he will sit down. Okay. So let's get started. We are gonna discuss chapter 2 of Bhagavad Gita, which is titled as Contents of the Gita Summarized. So actually Krishna was trying to tell everything Arjuna in this second chapter itself, and he thinks that now I need not to speak anymore. But when Krishna Arjuna starts asking more questions, that's where third chapter starts. But in the second chapter, you will see the glimpse of all the yogas, no matter Dhyan Yoga, Karma Yoga, Gyan Yoga, everything. This is the content. This is Gita summarized. Okay, this is the overview of chapter 2 Bhagavad Gita. So we see this is the crisis management part where Arjuna is in crisis. We'll see what we should do when we are in crisis. It's not Arjuna. Arjuna is representing us. We have always been in Arjuna's place. We have always been. It's not like sometime we have been. We have always been. But sometime we realize that, okay, we are in Arjuna's situation. But otherwise, in this material world, we have always been into this situation. For example, if we are sleeping in the night, we are always fearful that someone will, all the security alarms that we have. Why do we have that? Because we are fearful. We are driving on the road, you cannot freely drive, right? We are always fearful of who is driving next to us, before us, everyone around us. But sometimes the crisis becomes so some big that we become fearful or start identifying with Arjuna's situation. Otherwise, we are always in crisis in this material world. And then we'll see our real identity. Real identity means many people think that I am this body, but are we really this body? Because when I say I am holding this pen right now in my hand, for example, if I say my pen, so which means this pen belongs to me. Otherwise, this pen is separate. This pen is separate. I am separate. When I'm saying my pen, this pen belongs to me. So similarly, when I say my body, so I should be different from the body. Body is different. I am different. So who am I? So we'll discuss that in detail. Not just that we are the soul. we'll go a little bit in detail, and then we'll understand the two duties on a platform on a soul level and on bodily level, and we'll see the peace formula for sustained happiness. That's what the need of this world also today. So this is the overall summary of second chapter. So let's get started. So in the crisis management, let's see. So what happens now? The situation is Arjuna's chariot is in the middle of the two armies, right? And at that time, he is speaking. He starts speaking. He says, Arjuna says, Arjuna Uvacha Kath Bhishmaham Sankhe Drodam Cha Madhusudana Ishubhi Pirti Yotsyami Pujar Havari. So you see, some of you were saying that Arjuna uses this word Madhusudan to address. Yeah, so Arjun is using this word Madhusudan for Krishna. Can someone tell me what is the meaning of Madhusudan? Okay, so Madhusudan means killer of Madhu. Madhu is a name of a demon. So actually Krishna killed this demon named Madhu. Since then, Krishna is also known as Madhusudan. Now, Arjuna in this situation is addressing Krishna as Madhusudan in the sense that, hey Krishna, this confusion, this demoniac confusion has actually surrounded me. So like you killed demon Madhu, you please killed this confusion also, this demoniac confusion which is surrounding me. You please kill this demon also. And he is addressing it 2 times, you can say. Here also he is using that please kill it. So Arjun says, Katham Bhishmaham Sankhe Dronam. Bhishmaham. Aham means my. So he's saying that my great grandfather is there, Bhishma is there, who's on the other side, and Dronam, my teacher is also there. My teacher is also there. So they are worshipable for me. Puja hearts means worshipable. So these personalities, he's saying that personalities like Bhishma and my teacher Dronacharya, these are worshipable personalities for me. So he's saying what to talk about, fighting with them. I should worship them. I can't even argue with them if anything they say. Why? Because they are the object of worship for me. I should be in a position that whatever they say, I should immediately follow them. I should worship them. So if they are worshipable for me, Pirti Yotsyami, how can I counteract them? Right? So he says that I cannot counteract them. Why? Because they are object of worship for me. So he says, O killer of enemies, O killer of Madhu, how can I counteract with arrows in battle men like Bhishma and Drona, who are worthy of my worship? So here we see he is not able to make a decision. And we have always, all of us have always been in such situation where we are not able to make any decision. We are in confusion. Arjuna is also into confusion. See, the reason for Arjuna's confusion is that whole throughout his life, he have always paid obeisances to these great personalities. Anytime he will see Bhishma, he will immediately pay obeisances to Bhishma. Anytime he will meet his teacher Dronacharya, he will immediately pay obeisances to him. Now he is in the situation where he's like, oh, I have to kill them. I used to think that I have to be like them. They are such a great warriors. So I used to worship them, and today I have to kill them. So he is not in a position to make a decision. Now someone can say why it is so difficult. If he is worshipping them so much, then he can say, okay, I'm going their side. Whatever they say, I will follow them. See, the problem is he is a devotee of Krishna also, Supreme Lord Krishna. And Krishna wanted him to fight. And that's the situation of all of us. Right? So we have some upbringing through which we are attached with something or someone, right? And then when we connect with the spirituality, we hear something else, then it becomes a situation of dilemma, what to do, what not to do. And in our workplace also we see, sometimes we come into a revenge position. We want to take revenge from this person. But then our own integrity says, no, we should not be in a revengeful situation of anybody. These are all living entities, part and parcel of the Lord. So that's the situation of Arjuna. Now, what happens? What should we do? So Arjuna says further that Karpanya dosho pahatat subhava. Prichhami tvam dharma sammudha cheta. Yashreha nishchitam bruhi tanme. Shishyaste amshadhi mam tvam prapannam. He says, my Lord Krishna, Karpanya dosha. You know, for example, if we go to a doctor, we're like, okay, my nose is running, you know, I got sick. So Arjuna is saying that I got sick. Please cure me. Karpanya dosho. What is Karpanya dosho? Karpanya dosho means miserly, you can say miserly situation. Miserly situation means, let's say, you are in a situation where you are like helpless. You can't do anything, right? So immediately what you have to do is what Krishna is telling. He's saying, I'm in a helpless situation because I don't know what to do. And that is the situation of the battleground. You know, if he will, let's say, he says, no, Krishna, take my chariot back, I don't want to fight. Then he's in a situation that all these great warriors in the battlefield, they will say, oh, what are you doing? And he's a coward. And then he say, if I fight with these relatives, they are on my own people, my own blood, how can I kill them? So he's saying, Karpanya dosho, I don't know. Karpanya dosho, I'm in such a situation, I'm helpless. So what I'm doing, he says, Prichhami tvam dharma sammudha cheta. Prichhami tvam means I'm asking you. You please tell me. Please tell me what to do. Why? Because dharam sammudha cheta. Dharam sammudha cheta means I am confused. I am confused of my duty. I am confused of my duty. Why is confused? You know, as a warrior, he should fight. He knows that I am a warrior and my duty is to protect the religion. He knows that very clearly. And he's also thinking that my duty is also to protect my own relatives. Now he is confused. My own relatives are in front of me. And what to talk about in front of me who have to fight against? They are in my family also. They will also get killed. I mean, in my army also, they will also get killed. Right? For example, Arjuna's own son, he was also he was fighting from his side. So he will also get killed. Arjuna knows that. So he's saying, I am confused because as a warrior, I should fight. But because I see relatives on both sides and they are my own blood, I should be supporting, I should be protecting them. So I don't know if I should protect them or I should fight. So he's saying dharam sammudha cheta. I'm confused of my duty. And then yashreha shan mishchitam bruhitan me shishyaste amsadhi mamtam parpannam. This is a very important word here. Shishyaste am. Shishyaste am means I am accepting you as my master and I am your disciple. This is what we should do when we are in a situation of not making decisions. We are in a indecision situation when we cannot make decisions. We should consult with someone as a disciple and accept someone as a spiritual master. Shadi mam tvam prapannam. Tvam prapannam. I'm asking you, I am surrendered unto you. I am surrendered unto you. You please, mam is myself. Please instruct me because I am confused about my duty. I have lost all composure because of my miserly weakness. So what we have to do? Once we are in an indecision situation, we have to accept someone's authority. That is the main point here. And that is the missing point also in this world today. People are running out of their own mind. Whatever they think it is right, they do. They don't accept anyone as authority. But in ancient times, that was not the case. King will always have someone as a spiritual master in his kingdom, and whatever his spiritual master will say, he will follow that. Citizens was happy, king was happy, everybody in the kingdom was happy. Nowadays, that is a problem. Big politicians, they don't know what to do. Whatever they feel like, they implement those policies, and then people cry. Right? So what happens after that? When he takes the position as a disciple, and he says that Krishna, you are my spiritual master, please instruct me. So after saying that, what he does, eva mukta rishikesham gunakesha parantapa Na yotsya iti govinda muktva tushrim babhuvaha. So there are two good words here, very good to understand. Rishikesham and Gunakesha. What is Rishikesham? There is another word that is used for Lord Krishna. Rishikesha. So Rishik means senses and Ish means master. Right? So I'll write down here. So Krishna is the master of senses. He is the master of our senses. So all our senses we try to satisfy. For example, we try to satisfy our eyes by watching nice movies on Netflix or whatever platforms are there, or in theaters also, right? We try to satisfy our tongue by eating nice food, going out in the restaurant. Right? We try to hear nice Hollywood, Bollywood music for satisfying our ear. But Krishna is the master of our senses, which means only Krishna can satisfy our senses. Our senses are never satisfied. Can you hear a song like eternally, all the time, 24 hours a day until you die? No, hardly one song will become famous, and then after a few days, another song. Our senses are never satisfied. Why? Because we are trying to replace something or someone by, we are trying to replace Krishna by something or someone else. That's why we are not satisfied. But Krishna is the master of the senses. If we place Krishna to satisfy our senses, then our senses will be satisfied. Then another word used here is Gunakesha. Gunakesha is used for Arjuna. So there are two meanings of Gunakesha. Gunak plus Ish. If you can divide it like this, Gunak plus Ish. So Gunak means sleep. So actually Arjun was the master of sleep. Once we get tired, we have to sleep no matter what. But Arjun was the master of senses. He was such a great warrior that even if he will be tired, he need not to be sleep. In fact, he will never get tired. He was such a personality. He was such a warrior. He will never get tired. So he has mastered the sleep. If he wants to sleep 2 hours, within 2 hours, he will complete his sleep, and that's all. And then there is another word, meaning of this word, Guna plus Kesh. Guna means curly. And Kesh means hair. So Arjuna was having very nice curly hair. That's the another beautiful word Arjuna was addressed with, Guna Kesha. So what happens? We see that in previous text, Arjuna says that I'm accepting you as my master and I am your disciple. And then what he does? Na yotsaya. Na yotsya means I cannot fight. Na means nahi, means no. And yotsya means fight. He says, I cannot fight. So Sanjaya is telling Dhritarashtra that by saying this, that I'm accepting you as my master, I'm your disciple, please instruct me. He says that, okay, I cannot fight. No fight. So iti govinda muktya trashni bhave. Trashni bhave means fell silent. Trashni bhave, he fell silent. He says, okay, Krishna, I am not able to, I don't see that I can kill my relatives, and I am really confused. What should I do? So I'm accepting you as my spiritual master. I am your disciple and I shall not fight. And he fell silent. Now someone can think, you are accepting Krishna as your spiritual master. How come you made this decision that you cannot fight? When you accept someone as your master, then you take guidance what you should do. You can't make a decision. Once you reach out to someone, hey, I'm in this situation, please help me, what should I do? Then he is going to instruct you what you should be doing. When you have made a decision, I shall not fight. So that's another point. We have to understand that in a position of indecision making, even though we make a right decision of accepting someone as our guru, as our spiritual master, after that we should not be making any more decisions. We should hear it. So Krishna, Arjuna also does that though. Next shloka we see, Tamuvach Rishikesha Prasanniva Bharata. Prasanniva Bharata. Prasanniva. Prasanniva means smiling. Smiling. Senayo Rubhayor Madhya Vishidant Midam Vacha. So Krishna, about Krishna, Sanjay is saying, O descendant of Bharat, at that time Krishna is smiling in the midst of both the armies. Midst of both the armies means because the chariot position was like that. Let's say this is the chariot, and this was the army. Chariot was like right in the middle, and Arjuna and Krishna was sitting here. So he says, in the midst of both the armies, Krishna smilingly spoke the following words to the grief-stricken Arjuna. So Rishikesh, again, you see this word, same word has been used here, Rishikesh, like we were discussing, right? Krishna is the master of senses. And because he is the master of senses, and Arjuna's senses are all weakened in this situation, so much so that he fell silent, sat down on the chariot. So this very beautiful word has been used for Krishna to show us that now he will speak and he will satisfy Arjuna's senses completely. So here, in the indecision situation, we understood that we should accept the authority like Arjuna did. He said, Karpanya dosho pahata subhava prichhami tvam dharma sammura cheta. So he accepted Krishna as his spiritual master, saying, Shishyaste am shadi mam tvam pripannam. Shishyaste am. I'm accepting you as my master. I'm your disciple, Shishya. Then what should you do? Listen carefully. What we should do? Listen carefully. So these are the points that we understood from crisis management. We are in the crisis management. What happens? Indecision, which means we don't know what to do, what is winning or losing. Sometimes we understand winning as losing. Sometimes we understand losing as winning. So that's a Karam Yoga. We'll talk about it more in third chapter. So what we should do? We should surrender. How we should surrender? Realizing that Karpanya dosho, that we are weak. And then what should we do? We take shelter of the Supreme Lord or his representatives. So at that time where Arjuna was feeling weak on the chariot, Krishna was present. So he immediately took shelter of Krishna. But in our today's time, Krishna is accessible to us through many forms. Not only in a personal form, but he's available to us through his name, chanting. We can accept him as his through chanting. We can take association of his representatives who are Krishna devotees. We can take association of him. We can discuss this Krishna Katha. I mean, we can discuss with this Bhagavad Gita literature, Krishna's teaching with him, and then they can guide us. We can also take shelter of books like Bhagavad Gita. So that way we can understand what we should do in a position of indecision. And then change in relationships. Sometimes we get stuck in relationship, you know. We are attached to someone who is not the right person, but because we are attached, we know that he is not right. Last year, one of my friend was working with me in office, and he was discussing this problem about his sister. So his sister got married someplace in Vishakhapatnam, I believe. So she got married, and she got really attached with her husband. And her husband was a drinker. Every like 24, if he doesn't have work, he's like all the time drinking. But her sister got so much attached that she was like she got stuck with that husband. So my friend was asking me, I'm asking my sister to leave her husband and come back, but she's not coming. I don't know why she's not coming. So I was discussing this thing with him also, what Krishna is telling in Bhagavad Gita, that once you are attached with some relatives or, you know, your husband, your brother, father, someone, then it becomes, we are in a situation of indecision. So when we are in a situation of indecision, what to do, what not to do, then either we start taking wrong guidance from someone who doesn't know what should be doing, or in the situation of indecision, they just keep tolerating. So ideal situation is first do surrender. Surrender to whom? The right person. Who is the right person? Who knows the science of Bhagavad Gita, right? Who knows Krishna? Here, only that person is the right person. Why? Because he knows the science of Bhagavad Gita. He knows the philosophical, psychological nature of people. So only he can guide us properly. And then comes the knowledge transfer part, where person will, like Krishna is going to speak, so that person will speak and will have to follow. And here we have explained that whom we should take the authority of. So this is the first part that we discussed so far in crisis management. The next part is about a real identity. What is our real identity? So let's take this one. Now, Shri Bhagavan Uvacha. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha means now Bhagavan, you see, Bhagavan is used for whom? Krishna. So which means when Krishna was present on this earth, that time also everybody knew, at least his devotee knew that he is the Supreme Lord. That's why Sanjay, as his devotee, he is using this word Shri Bhagavan Uvacha, means Krishna is going to speak. What he says? Asochan Vashocastvam Pragyavadascha Bhashase Gatasun Gatasuscha Nanusochanti Pandita. Amazing shloka. Krishna says that Anasochan Vasochatsam, which means what you should not lament, you are lamenting on what you should not lament. Pragya means knowledgeable. Let's understand it from this part. So the person who is knowledgeable is called Pragya, and Bhashase means language. So what Krishna is trying to say to Arjuna, Krishna says that you are using the language of knowledgeable person, but ideally if you see, you are lamenting for something which you should not lament upon. And then Krishna says, actually the knowledgeable person, Pandita, Gatasun Gatasunshcha, which means they do not lament at all. They do not lament neither for the living nor for the dead. Gatasun Agatashushcha. Gatasun means which has gone out of this material world, like died or finished for some reason. And Agata, Agata Sush, which is living on this earth, which has not gone. Something, someone, whoever, something gets destroyed, with time, and people also die. So he's saying that no matter something has gone away or something is living, Pandita Nanu Sochanti, they don't lament. Okay, now comes the point, why so? Because we see that we lament, right? In today's time, in the market, the recession time, so many people are losing their job. Right? One friend of mine from India, he called me today morning. He said, I lost my job. Can you help me? I said, okay, send me your resume. We'll find out something. Nanu Sochanti Pandita. So what does it mean when we are crying? Are we not Pandita? And if we are not Pandita, then comes the question, who am I? Right? Arjuna is in such a situation, he is crying like anything, and Supreme Lord Krishna is scolding him. Why is he scolding him? People might question, Krishna, why are you scolding him now? See, as a spiritual master, he is supposed to scold him. A spiritual master is not, being a spiritual master is not a cheap business like we see in this world today. So many people say, oh, I have accepted him as my guru. Okay, why? Because he can do some magic. What type of magic? He can take some ashes in his hand and he can convert them into gold. So Krishna is not a cheap guru. He is a real spiritual master. The duty of the spiritual master is what? To bring person from illusion to knowledge. So all of us in this material world are in illusion. And Krishna brings them from illusion to knowledge. So why we are in illusion? Because if you are not in illusion, then why are you Shochanti? Why are you crying? Our crying only certifies that we are in illusion. Krishna is saying, whoever is in knowledge, gata sun gata shoscha, they will not cry. They will not cry. So unless person, for example, you see a child, a parents, sometimes they have to scold the child. So the child understands the reality of this word. Similarly, the spiritual master, Krishna is trying to scold Arjuna, saying that, oh, you are trying to become a very great learned person. But a learned person, he does not cry. Then comes the question, who am I? So let's see. So in this 22nd text, Krishna says, Krishna is answering this question, who am I? So he says that we are soul. So before we discuss some shlokas, let me quickly discuss this with you. Actually, this is a very interesting thing. I must discuss this with you. I hope all of you can see MS Paint on my screen. If not, please raise your hand and I'll try to adjust the settings. So I ask you something, and please feel free to go unmute and answer. So I ask you, what is the difference between dead body and a sleeping body? There is a dead body and there is a sleeping body. What is the difference? A person has slept. Yes, Niyamata, you wanna answer?
Yeah, one has the soul, the other one does not.
That's a good answer, but then you'll have to prove now. How would you prove it? See, I'm a layman person. Oh, Bhavya Prabhu is saying it's same. No, it's not same. So you see what Neha Mataji is telling. She is telling that one has the soul, another doesn't have soul. That's the right answer. Let's understand, how would you prove it? Because I can say anything. This word says, what is logics? So you think that there is a way we can prove it?
Heart beating?
That's again, that's right.
I don't
But
know.
I would say, no, you're right. Let's say there is a paper. There is a paper, paper, right? Any paper. And there is a firing paper. I don't know what would be the right word, but it's in fire. It caught fire. It caught fire, and now it's burning. It's burning now. What is the difference? What is the difference? It is not active, and this is active. Correct?
Yeah.
This is active. This is not active. Which means when fire comes in contact with the paper, something happens in the paper. And what is that? That is heat. So heat is the property of fire.
Okay.
Anything comes in contact with fire, immediately it gets heated. And all the reactions happens. Similarly, when soul enters into dead matter, what is dead matter? Body. Right? As soon as it enters into small dead matter, immediately what happens? The property of the soul is consciousness.
Okay.
What is the property of fire? Heat. Immediately it gets heated. And what is the property of soul? Consciousness. Immediately consciousness. Immediately. Dead matter, nothing. Soul leaves the body, now it is dead matter. It cannot do anything. But immediately soul enters into the body, consciousness, immediately active. So you see, fire touches the paper and immediately paper, it starts moving here and there. Soul enters the consciousness, immediately body, it starts moving. You see, this is small diagram will show you. Yeah, this is a soul transmigration diagram that I'm showing you on my screen. So when the small matter, you see the small baby down below, you see this small baby, we are able to see it, but when it is in womb, it is very, very, very small. Soul enters into it and it becomes active. Then after 9 months, the child takes birth and it grows. It grows and grows and grows, comes to certain stage, right? And then it goes down and dies. Then soul leaves the body. And what does soul do after that? Transmigration, which means now it will travel to another body. That is soul. If anyone has any question, please go ahead and ask that, because this is a very, very basic fundamental of spirituality, no matter what practice you are doing. But this is very fundamental. So if it is not clear, please ask any question that you have. This is very fundamental. We should be understanding it. And can someone tell me the difference? Like, oh yeah, there is a question, I believe. Can you repeat the picture, please? Okay, sure. Yeah. So what happens, in mother's womb, through the semen of a male, the semen will go in mother's womb, and then soul will enter on the 4th day in mother's womb. So it's a very small matter which is lying in mother's womb, where soul enters in, and then immediately it gets activated. As soon as it gets activated, it's in a very, very you see, after I think 6 months or so, where you go to a doctor, and then they take this X-ray or something, and then they will show you. You will see very small hand or small legs coming out. The activity started on 4th day itself when soul entered into the matter, but slowly it grows. It grows. The child stands, it starts standing, and then it will become teenage. It will come to a teenage, young, and then after 40 and 50, the body starts complaining, showing signal that I'm gonna lose, that I'm gonna die, right? And then slowly goes to deathbed. There is another question. Who chooses the body for the soul? That is another amazing question. A very, very amazing question, actually. Amazing question. We'll discuss this. We will touch it little bit today, but in more detail we will discuss in Karma Yoga, right? So we'll touch base on it. Thank you for asking this question. So you understood this picture, right, Ananda Prabhu? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I'm good with this picture.
Okay. Thank you.
I have a lot of questions on the other picture.
I know. See, Arjuna had so many questions that Krishna had to start the whole Bhagavad Gita from chapter 3. So I can definitely understand you. Others also would be having a lot of questions on this. I'm so
Are you going to explain the 17th or the 18th sloka in 2nd chapter? Jatasya Dhruvo Mitruvo Dhruvam Janma Mritasya cha.
I think I have them on my slide.
Okay.
We'll see. If not, you can please highlight that. I will explain them in the end of the session today.
Please.
I want to make sure that the concepts are very much clear to all of us, and we can discuss around them. So I think all of us have.
Prabhuji, I also have one more question.
Please go ahead.
Can you also highlight on attachment and detachment?
Okay, that's a very good question. Again, when Krishna is going to explain the concept of soul to Arjuna, then he will explain little bit on attachment and detachment. How he should be performing his duty.
Okay.
But actually, these questions are mainly related with karma.
Karma Yoga.
Right.
The 3rd chapter. So
this will come in 3rd chapter, and then 5th chapter.
5th chapter.
Yeah. So there we will discuss them in more detail. But
okay,
yeah, if time permits, we'll discuss them here also.
Okay, Prabhu.
No problem. Thank you for asking this question again. So you see, we discussed the concept of soul, right? Now I ask all of you, and other than Anandram Prabhu will answer. He has been answering a lot of my questions. So you see, we have an ant and there is an elephant. So I want to know what is the size of soul in ant and what is the size of soul in elephant. I'm looking at chat window also, if someone wants to ping over chat. Okay, I got one right answer, but I will not tell what is that. But someone else want to try? Okay, I got another one also. Someone also replied back the right answer. Right answer again. I got 3 right answers so far. Perfect. So yes, thank you very much. A lot of people have answered and all of them are right. The size of soul is same, in both of them, the size of soul is same, no matter what. So that's an amazing thing, based on our desire. Very, very minute size of soul. Very, very minute. You know the size of soul? What Krishna tells? Krishna is telling that the size of soul is 1/10,000 part of tip of hair. We take a hair and tip of that hair and divide it into 10,000 parts, then one part is the size of soul. Can you imagine? So minute. And that so minute size of the soul is the same in ant's body, in elephant body. And you see the ant is depressed that, oh, I cannot load so much load as elephant can hold. And elephant is depressed. He is thinking that I cannot enter into a small hole where ant can enter. Anyway, why this is the situation of all of us in world today. We don't know the science of soul, and because we don't know the science of soul, we don't know the science of karma, and because we don't know the science of karma, we don't know the science of Gyan Yoga, and again because we don't know the science of Gyan Yoga, we don't know the science of Bhakti Yoga. That is the situation. So anyway, so we'll come to this power. We'll come to this discussion. I just want to quickly go back to our PPT, discuss few more things. So we understood what is soul. Now, what is the property of that soul, right? We discussed this also, right? Vasansi jivani yatha vihaya, namani granati naro prani, tatha sharirani vihaya jivana, nilyani sanyati navani dehi. Navani dehi. Navani dehi means new body. Navani means new. Oh, sorry, let me get this. So, this Navani means new, and Dehi means body. So Krishna is telling that like we every day, you know, you're wearing nice new garments, and then you use them, but once you change them, right? Next day we change another new clothes, right? So Krishna is saying, like the person puts on new garments, we throw them away the old one, buy the new garments. Similarly is like soul. There is certain stage the soul lives in a body, right? So we see in this diagram, like it's a small ant, soul is living in here. Big elephant, soul is living in here. Let's say this ant will live 1 month. There is a period. In this 1 month, this ant will become baby, will be a baby, you know, toddler, teen, or whatever, adult, then old, and die. So in this 1 month, every ant will complete a cycle. Then what would happen to the soul? Then soul will go into some other body, right? Let's say dog. Again the same cycle. Then let's say elephant. Again same soul. Again elephant body. And again we'll spend, let's say a dog lives, let's say 6 months. I don't know exactly the 6 years, let's say. And then let's say elephant 200. Let's say, so similarly the soul is transmigrating. So Krishna is saying these bodies, the soul is changing these bodies like we change our garments. It's a very basic thing. I think most of you must be knowing it. Yeah. So the same soul which is entering in different bodies is carrying the consciousness. Same consciousness is being carried in the different body, like fire. Same heat is there, same quantity of fire is there, and then we are taking into different bodies. So that's what is being covered in the shloka. And then what is the property of this this soul? Then Krishna says, Nainam chindanti shastrani. Nainam chindanti shastrani means you cannot cut the soul into different pieces. That's not possible. It's like, you know, if you say, can you cut air? No, air, what would you cut in air? Air is air. You know. So Nainam chindanti shastrani. Krishna says Nainam chindanti shastrani. And then Nainam dehati pavakaha. If you say you will burn it with fire, no, that's what you do with the soul. Nainam na chainam kled yantyapo. It cannot be moistened by water. And then na shoshyati marutaha. You cannot, you should not think that it will dry with the wind or something. It will not. So this is the property of the soul. Yeah. Now, before I come to this shloka, I want to explain you a little bit more. Okay, it will take like 5 minutes to. This is actually important, so that's why I want to take this up. This is little technical. If you feel that I'm going too technical, please feel free to stop me. But this is very important that we understand it. Okay? When we are in this material world, we know that soul is very minute. So what happens actually to the soul? Soul is given two bodies. We think only one body, but actually we have two coverings. So the covering inside is called subtle body, and the covering outside is called gross body. So gross body, I think all of you know, right? Whatever we see outside, hand, legs, all these is a part of gross body. The part of subtle body include mind, intelligence, and false ego. Okay, so these are part of subtle body. I just want to emphasize it because when soul will transmigrate in different bodies, then only gross body will change. Subtle body will remain as it is. As it is means it will not leave the soul. It will leave the soul when soul will go back home, back to Godhead. But as far as soul is in the material world, then soul will always carry the subtle body. Please always remember this. If there is any question or concern, please feel free to ask a question. This is a very important point. That's why I want to make sure it is understood. Okay, there is a question: who defines the tenure of a soul to a particular body? Karma. That is karma only. Karma decide the tenure of the soul in the body. So basically, what he is trying to ask is, what decides the soul to become an elephant or to enter into ant's body or to accept a dog's body or to accept human body? That comes from soul's karma, or I would more precisely, if I would put it, it would be desire to enjoy. So let's say a soul desires to sleep, then it will be entered into bear's body. If you want to eat meat, then okay, you become lion, right? Because they have their own propensity. Lion has a propensity to eat meat. Bear has a propensity to sleep. Similarly, someone might have a lot of lusty propensity, for example. Then dog. Okay, you become dog, you fulfill your lusty propensity. So Krishna is very merciful. The desire to enjoy decides the next body. So soul takes the subtle body, mind, intelligence, and false ego with it, and then enters into another body, become dog or elephant or whatever. That's how transmigration happens. Any other question? Let me see, is there any question in chat window? No. Anyone has any objection to what I explained, or any counter argument or something?
Just one thing, mind, intelligence, and what is FE?
Oh, sorry. This is false ego. Sorry. False ego.
Oh, false ego. Okay.
What is false
Okay.
ego? Do you know that?
No.
But okay. Then you can please feel free to ask. If you don't know, please feel free to ask. Even we are all trying to learn, all are trying to learn here. So what is false ego? First of all, we'll have to understand what is true ego, right? Someone can ask us, someone can say, hey, you are saying true, false ego. What is true ego? You see, let's say a part of a washing machine, a small part of a washing machine falls down on the floor. So you see actual position of that or actual position of that part which fell down on the floor. The position was to stick to the machine, right? So there is a washing machine and there is a small part here, but it falls on the floor and falls on the foreground. Now this part, what is the constitutional position of this part is to attach back to the machine, correct? Now this part thinks, if this part has two ego, one ego is true, one is false. So out of one ego, this part thinks that I am part and parcel of this machine, then perfect. That is perfect, because that's the constitutional position of this part. If he has this ego, see, ego is not a negative word. Ego is not a negative word. If the ego is coming from the right position, for example, I I I am in this ego that I have a very beautiful wife. Then what is the problem with this? I have a very beautiful wife. I am in the right position. But if I think that I am the husband of other ladies also, then that is my false ego. That is not the right position. You know. So similarly, every living entity is the part and parcel of Lord Krishna. If everyone thinks that I am the servant of Krishna, then very good. That is our constitutional position. All of us are meant to serve the Supreme Lord, and that's how we can be happy. For example, if this part fell on the floor, this part thinks that I will also become like a big machine, washing machine. That is, someone will say, are you stupid? What are you talking about? You are the part and parcel of that machine. How can you become the machine? Similarly, Krishna says that we are the part and parcel of him, which means that we are meant to serve him. We have always been serving him, but just because of our ego to enjoy separately from him, we fell down in this material world. And then when we think that we can enjoy separately in this material world like Krishna, or we can become Krishna, that is our false ego. Why? Because that position itself is false. Does that make sense, Nehamaday? Because of the false position, how can you think that you can become Krishna or enjoy like Krishna? Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. So Krishna is very merciful. He says, okay, you want to enjoy separately? No problem. Enjoy separately. I'm giving you this whole material world. Go there and enjoy whatever you want to enjoy. Go there. Go there, take this false ego with you. And I'm giving you mind intelligence also. I'm giving you gross body, everything I'm giving. Go and enjoy. And then what happens? We come here and we keep trying to enjoy, but we never enjoy. All our attempts to become happy goes in vain. We try to find a good spouse, right? And then after that, we face the reality of life. We realize that the world is not as fanatic as it is shown in Hollywood, Bollywood movies, right? Parents take a lot of care for their children, thinking that they will reciprocate us. But at the old age, we see all of our situation, what happens. Why this is happening? It is their fault, our fault? No, it is no one's fault actually. Neither it is not our fault, it is not their fault also who is not reciprocating. They cannot reciprocate. Why? Because all of us are part and parcel of Krishna. All of us are meant to give Krishna enjoyment and take enjoyment from Krishna. Nobody else can reciprocate that perfectly because they don't know what gives us the enjoyment. Only Krishna knows. So he can reciprocate us perfectly. Okay, there is a question, karma. Yes, that is right. So yeah, anybody has any other question? Please feel free to ask. I mean, no question is silly or no question is complex. Please feel free. But this is a very, very important thing that we should be understanding as a spiritualist, no matter which path we want to follow. But this is an important thing we should be doing. See, some people, what happens, it might take a little longer, but I try to explain it. So what happens, some people say that you go to them and they say, can you show us God? They will say, oh, what are you saying, show God? You are God, you can become God. It's like saying to this part and parcel of the machine that you can become a washing machine, isn't it? Krishna is saying Bhagavad Gita, we are part and parcel of him. Then how can you expect parts and parcel to become a God? So such people are not the real spiritual masters. They are cheaters. And Prabhupada, our founder Acharya of ISKCON, used to say that cheaters get cheated. Krishna is the biggest cheater. So actually these cheaters also worship Krishna. Krishna is the supreme of all. Anyway, so okay, so we understood so far that that this body is a dead matter. and soul enters into this body, then the consciousness comes throughout the body, and as the soul leaves the body, immediately person is declared dead. And with the soul goes mind, intelligence, and also. And then we understood the property of this soul. We understood that because whenever you come to know of a new thing, you start inquiring, oh, what is that thing about? What does that do? So that's why Krishna is explaining all these things about soul, because we just now understood about soul. So Krishna is explaining Arjuna that what is this soul about. Then Krishna is telling that this is the property of the soul, that it can never be cut into pieces by any weapon or burned by fire. So Krishna is explaining all these properties of this soul. Now let's say Arjuna says that, Krishna, I am in such a depressing situation. I was not able to even hold anything. I took my Gandiva to kill all these demons, but I was not able to kill them because I got into depression. And now you are giving me this knowledge of soul and all, I'm not able to digest it. Then Krishna says that, we see here, Krishna says, Tapasya hi dhruvo mrityu dhurvam jana mritya sacha tasmad pariharthe natvam sochi tumarhasi. Krishna is saying that one who has taken his birth is sure to die. And after death, one is sure to take birth again. Therefore, in the unavoidable discharge of your duty, you should not lament. See, you see, if someone comes as a guest in your house and he spends good time with you, you also welcome him very nicely. He comes and you give him some, water and some food, and then you have a nice word with him. And after some time spending with you, now he is leaving. Would you cry? You think you would cry, oh, please don't go, why are you going? No, you can't go, please. Would you cry? It would be a nonsense idea, right? If someone's going to come to your home and then we start crying, when he came to our house, we knew that he's a guest and he's sure to go. He is here with us to spend some time, and then he will go. So while he is going, we should not be crying, right? Because we should be knowing that, okay, he is a guest. So now someone can say, oh no, what to do? I know he's a guest, but I developed attachment with him. Okay, then it is our fault. Correct? Because he was. So similarly, Krishna is saying that whoever has taken his birth is sure to die. Whoever has come into this material world, we all know. So many people are trying to avoid death. No one wants to die, in fact. But he's sure to die. He's sure to live. And after that, one is sure to take birth again, which means he will go in someone else's house and become the guest again. Therefore, in the unavoidable discharge of your duty, you should not lament. So Krishna is saying that you are crying for Bhishma or Dronacharya. Bhishma is your great grandfather, or Dronacharya is your teacher. Why are you crying for that? For them, they have to anyway die. You think they will not die anytime? They say, no, they will have to anyway die. Yes, then why are you crying? There is no point of crying because they will anyway leave their body. So instead of crying for their body or your body, your bodily attachment with their body, you should not be crying for the body. You should discharge your duty. And your duty as a warrior is to fight. So Krishna is trying to tell Arjuna that we should not be. So first Krishna explained Arjuna analytically that what is soul and how it enters into the body. So instead of lamenting about the soul, we should be, instead of lamenting about the body, we should be caring about the soul. Why? Because soul is eternal. Why we should be worrying about soul? Because we know that soul is eternal. And about body is anyway die. Anyway, it is a dead matter anyway. So soul, as soon as soul leaves the body, then it will be declared dead. So Krishna is saying, these two people you are crying for, or all the relatives on the battlefield, they will have to anyway die. You discharge your duty, which is your foremost duty when you are a warrior.
Prabhuji,
Yes.
ask a question.
Yes, Ishani Mataji. Go ahead, please. Please go ahead. आपकी आवाज नहीं आ रही है. I can't hear you, Ishani Mataji. Please go ahead. Yeah.
Can this be a number Now, see how many times do we take birth, or is it an endless cycle?
It's a very nice question again. So how many bodies are there? That is defined. So we say I tell you, these many types of species have been defined. And how many times we take birth? Endless. It's like a loop, you know. So we are here, you complete transmigration, again here, again here, again here. It's a loop. We are in loop. How many species we travel with? So many species. So many species. There are like 5,000 types of species in human, lakhs of species in fishes, so many species in other animals, so many species. There is a detailed explanation in later chapters of Bhagavad Gita that how many species are there in this material world. And to your second question, if the cycle will end, never. It will never end. Why it is not ending? Now someone can say, hey, why it is not ending? Correct. See, this is a good question. So Sampath Pro is asking, if it is an endless cycle, when do we get salvation and nirvana? This is an intelligent question, because very few people will ask this question actually. And that's where spirituality starts. When someone says, see, I am done. Why what happened? Because I know that I am not going to get happiness in this material world. So let's talk about liberation. So that's the question of Sampath Pro also. So we'll discuss about it in the later verses. This will come up in the last slide when we'll talk about eternal happiness. This question will be answered. But Ishani Mataji, was I able to answer your question?
Yes, Prabhuji, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so we understood the property of soul, and then Krishna is saying, okay, anyway, you did not understand the property of the soul or anything about it. You should still not lament, because it is logical that these people will anyway die. So instead of worrying about them, you should be worrying about your duty. As a warrior, fight. This is a diagram where we are talking about real identity. So we understood that there is a concept of soul. Then we have a subtle body, we have a gross body. Gross body destroyed at death. Subtle body, soul body travels into different bodies. Now, I just want to tell you, because we discussed about existence of soul. There is this professor called Ian Stevenson. He is MD. You can read this book. He has written this book. This is a very nice book. If you want to write it down, please go ahead. The book name is Children Who Remember Previous Lives. And this guy, Ian Stevenson, MD, he has done more than 3,000 experiments, research. So what happened, some person in some village in, let's say, North Korea, when he took birth, he started saying that, oh, I remember my previous life. In previous life, I was that, I was that, I was that. So like that, there are like 3,000 cases he has studied. He went there, he met them, and he researched. And his conclusion was also that in the body there is a soul. That was the conclusion. And you can read this book. It's a very nice book actually, and it's a research based. He actually went there, talked to them, and he researched in the sense when he talked to them, and they told that, oh, we remember this life, we were in US, and now we are in China. So he actually went back to their address in US and asked all what they told, and they were all true. So he found that in the body there is soul. So it's kind of it's kind of a book where if you have a doubt anything about soul, then this will give you a firm faith that in the body there is soul. So it will give you a faith that what Krishna is telling to Arjuna is absolutely correct. Okay, so I hope this was good so far. So we discussed crisis management and our real identity. Now someone can say, if I am in the soul, someone can say, okay, I'm not the body, I'm in the body. Right? So should I not be performing my duties of the body? So I have to eat, I have to drink water. These are all bodily necessities, right? Soul is not demanding. Soul is still alive. It has always been active. Correct? That's the nature of the soul. In fact, soul is acting as it enters into a body, the body becomes active. But there are bodily duties also. So comes the question, should I not be doing these duties? So before we do that, we have to understand that what is Bhagavan? So now we are going to discuss two duties, but before we go into that, let's discuss. So we are going to spend like 5 minutes on this and then the next 5-10 minutes on the last one. So who is Bhagavan? So you see, sorry, I apologize, I wrote it in Hindi. So who is Bhagavan? You have heard this word, right? Bhagavan. You must have heard this word in Hindi. It's called Balwan, means who possesses bal, the power, strength. He is known as Balwan. The one who possesses knowledge is called Gyanwan. Similarly, the one who possesses a bhaga is called Bhagavan. So what is bhag? Bhag means opulences. The one who is full in all opulences. Full means like the richest person on this earth you can imagine. He might be the richest person in comparison of all the wealth that other person have. But tomorrow if someone will have some even more a single penny than the richest person, then another person will become the richest guy. Correct? So similarly, there is a relativity in the sense you can say, oh, he is richest, now he is richest, now he is richest, but no one can be as richest as Krishna. He has the most wealth. He's the most wealthiest person. He's all renunciate. He's all knowledge. He has full beauty. He has full strength. He has all fame. Millions and millions of universes worship Krishna. We cannot get that much fame. What to talk about millions of universes? Even in this universe, not everybody knows us. Correct? And millions and millions of universes worship Krishna. So these are the 6 qualities of Krishna by which he is known as Bhagavan. See, any Tom, Dick and Harry will stand today in market and he will say, I am Bhagavan. Then we should ask him, if you are Bhagavan, then do you have all these 6 qualities? Is there anyone who is more beautiful than you? Yeah, there are more people, Miss World, Mr. World, they are more, then you are not Bhagavan. So Krishna is not like that cheap Bhagavan. He is Bhagavan, means he is full in all opulences. Now, what does that mean to our duties in this world? See, Krishna is Bhagavan, which means he also takes care of all the living entities as a master of all of them. He's Bhagavan means he's the master of all the living entities. He takes care of all of us. So what happens in the body? Where here is a soul, right? So in everybody, Krishna also lives as super soul. So it's we. I'm writing as we, so we understand. Then this is Krishna. So he is there to take care of us. You know why? Because he loves us so much. He keeps watching towards us, like 2 birds on a tree. One bird is busy in eating the fruits of the tree, and another bird, in a very friendly and compassionate way, is looking at the other bird who is eating the fruits of the tree. Similarly, soul is very much busy in enjoying in this material world. He's not worrying about Krishna. He's not worrying about what Krishna is saying in Bhagavad Gita. He's not worrying at all. He is just busy in his daily affairs. And Krishna is eagerly waiting that when this soul will turn towards me. He's eagerly waiting, very eagerly waiting that one day this soul will turn towards me. So in that sense, there is a duty of soul. What is the duty of soul? The duty of the soul is to turn towards Krishna, like all of us have done. All of us have started coming into these classes to understand what Krishna is saying. So Krishna is very happy. Krishna is very happy that for so long, in so many births, Krishna was waiting for us to turn towards him. Now we have started understanding him. So Krishna is very happy. So that is our foremost duty of the soul, that he takes interest in understanding Krishna and takes the first step that, okay, I want to see what is the message of Krishna in Bhagavad Gita and what makes Krishna happy. And then he starts engaging in Krishna's service. That is the duty of soul. The second duty, see, this soul is tied up in this box. which is the gross body. So if we will not take care of the gross body, for example, then soul will have to leave this body, correct? If the body is not suitable for the soul to stay in, then soul will have to leave the body and will enter into another body. So to take care of the gross body also, it is our duty. So we have two duties to perform. For example, as a father, I have to take care of my family, right? But as a manager, I have to take care of my team in my company also. I have two duties to perform. Similarly, when we are in this body, we have to take care of our duty towards Krishna, to understand his message and to serve him nicely. And because we are in this body, we have to take care of this body also. So these are our two duties that Krishna is telling. So for example, if we just take care of the body and we don't take care of the soul, then what is the point? It's like, you see this diagram here. This lady is only taking care of the cage, but not the parrot inside it. Then what would happen? Parrot will die. You are not taking the, and what is the point of taking care of the cage? So it's like that. If we just take care of the body, then we are just taking care of a dead matter, not ourselves. Why? Because we are in the body. We are not the body. So there is one thing which is called swadharma, which means taking care of the body or people attached with the body, and taking care of ourselves as a soul. So we worship Krishna. We take care of our daily practice. And how do we do the practice? We chant Krishna's name, read Bhagavad Gita, and understand his message. So these are our two duties. What is the difference between duty and responsibility? I think you can use them interchangeably. Sometimes, in our language, sometimes words are used quite artistically, you can say. So you can understand this duty, you can understand responsibility. With the duty comes responsibility, actually. So, but you understood the grasp, right? So what I'm trying to explain. When you understand the duty, then comes the responsibility. So if you take it as a responsibility, which means you are on the second step already, so that is also fine. Okay, so we move to the so in the same thing, in the same diagram, we have explained this, that two duties are there. And so our one duty is towards Krishna consciousness, which means we worship Krishna, chant his name, worship him, understand his message, read Bhagavad Gita, and participate in the worship of Krishna. And then another duty comes towards our bodily attachments, bodily relations. So in that, definitely we should not have expectations. All expectation we have towards with Krishna. Otherwise, that's why we see the misery. That's why we see Arjuna in such a situation. He was expecting love from Bhishma, Dronacharya. Now they are against him. So he was quite in dilemma what to do and what not to do. Okay, so we quickly summarize this two duties, the crisis management, real identity, and two duties. Now we'll see the sustained happiness. What is the sustained happiness? The happiness in this word is not sustained. For example, you go to watch a movie, right? After 3 hours, you will again need something else to be happy in this world, right? There's no sustained happiness. Or I would say eternal happiness. There's no eternal happiness in this world. So let's see what is the formula for sustained happiness. This is a very nice word in this sloka. What is that? Shruti Viprati Panna. So let's see. Krishna says, Shruti Viprati Panna, te tada istasyati nischala, samadha vachla buddhistada, yogam vapya siyasi. Krishna says, when your mind is no longer disturbed by the flowery language of the Vedas, and when it remains fixed in the trance of self-realization, then you have attained the divine consciousness. See, Shruti Viprati Panna, what does it mean? It means when we hear a lot of things and we establish some philosophy in our mind. For example, you go to YouTube and you hear some person in that YouTube. That person doesn't know anything about the scriptures, for example. And he is talking some really, very fancy words. He's using very fancy words and talking something which pleases us. then we build our philosophy around it. We say, oh yeah, that person is a very nice person. What he was saying, wow. Then what is the philosophy? Has he read something? We don't know, but when he speaks, we are very happy. What is this? Similarly, when we read something, there's a purpose behind it. So for example, there is a PhD person who is pursuing PhD, right? If you see him reading some book of 10th standard, you will say, what rubbish, why he's reading this book? He is such a high scholar. Why is he investing his time reading this book? Correct. Similarly, if you see, let's say, a preschool small kid, and he's reading the same book, you will be amazed. Oh wow, this guy is reading this book, which is such of his high standard. Similarly, every book or every person should be aligned. So every book is not meant for everyone, and every person is not meant to read every book. Does that make sense? So Vedas, which is the ancient books, ancient texts of from India, they have different categories for different people. Like we were discussing about YouTube. Now some people are so pathetic. For example, they are going out in the market, stealing, killing. These people are on such a stage, they need someone like some motivational speaker or something, someone who can bring them on a stage where they can understand the value of life. Correct? They are not on a stage to give them some high philosophy about soul and this and that. They are on such a level that someone should tell them that every life matters, you should not kill anybody, or this is the proprietorship, you should not steal others' property, others' items. But people on an upper level, let's say, people are those very nice and all, then they would be given different lessons based on their receptivity or their level. So what happened, Krishna is saying that these ancient text Vedas were written for different category of people. Some people, those are really on a very degraded position, they will given some chocolate. Hey, you will get this if you do this. So in that way, they should not be creating some chaos in the society. So for example, if someone wants to get heavenly pleasures, let's say he wants to eat really good, he wants to live a life of king, and if they become gangster, then it will be chaos in the society like it is today. So Vedas will say, oh, you become like a king, or you become like, you want to have a lot of servants around you. Like, yes, I want that. No problem. You can do these sacrifices. So Vedas will give them some sacrifices, 1, 2, 3. So that way they will remain noble people, and they will not create chaos in the society. And after that they will go to heavenly planets, and then they can enjoy there, no problem. But it's like, but if a PhD student starts thinking like a 10th class boy, then it would be a difficult, no one would like that. So like that, Krishna is saying that you are such a great warrior, you have such a great intelligence, you should not be speaking like the language of Vedas. Vedas are meant for different people. What are those different people? There are 3 categories of people. There are people who are mode of goodness. I will explain you all 3 categories. Mode of goodness, then comes mode of passion, and then comes mode of ignorance. There are 3 modes that we all work in. So mode of ignorance means lazy people. They don't want to do anything. They are just lazy, roaming around on the street. Even whatever their plans are, they will just postpone them to later. Lazy, they don't want to do anything. Passionate means they are just, from morning to night running. I need this, running in the office, on the street to get something. They are very passionate. And then goodness means disciplined. They're disciplined, doing things nice, talking to people nicely. They're good people. Now Krishna is asking Arjuna not to stuck in this. He's saying that If you stuck in this, then you will, it's not good. You are, even let's say lazy people, you will, what would you say? If a person is lazy, you will say, oh no, you should do something, some work, right? And then you will try to bring him on a level of passion. So he at least contributes in the society. And the person who is passionately contributing, running, he will get frustrated, right? Because in this world you cannot get everything. So one day he will get frustrated. Then you will ask him to come on goodness level. Why? Because he will get frustrated, will spoil his life. Then you say, no, stay in goodness, don't cry so much for things. See, anyway, everything is gonna finish one day. Why are you worrying so much? So then you will try to bring him in a level of goodness. Now the person who is already on a level of goodness, what you will ask him? Then you will ask him to come on the level of pure goodness. What is pure goodness? The pure goodness is not of this world. This is all material. This is all material. And what is pure goodness? This is spiritual. What happens in pure goodness? In pure goodness, you are freed from all these modes. These all modes gives you pain, like we understood, right? All these modes gives us pain. But the pure goodness is a bliss. Like we saw that diagram of soul, like the soul enters, soul's nature is eternal bliss. The nature of the soul is eternal bliss. But are we eternally blissful? We are not. Why? Because we are stuck in these three modes: mode of goodness, mode of passion, mode of ignorance. When soul comes into this consciousness of pure goodness, it becomes eternally bliss, and that is the eternally blissful life. That's why Krishna is actually scolding Arjuna that you should not stuck into these three modes. He's saying that when your mind is no longer disturbed by the flowery language of Vedas, flowery language of Vedas means these three modes. Vedas are only talking about these three modes. That's why saying you should not stuck in this. And he says when you will come out of this, it remains fixed in trance of self-realization, then you will have attained the divine consciousness, which means then you will become happy. What would happen in divine consciousness? He says, Yada sanharate chayam kumom gani sarvasha indriyani indriyarthe abhyat istasya pragya pratishtha. We'll see a very nice 2-minute video also on this. Krishna is saying, one who is able to withdraw his senses from sense objects, as the tortoise draws its limbs within the shell, is firmly fixed in perfect consciousness. It might feel little hard to understand, but let me show you one video. This is a very nice video. Okay, I'm over time, 1 minute over time. I'll probably take a few more minutes in. So this is a 2-minute video. On this shloka, this video will start making sense. If you will, 1 minute, it got hanged, I think. Yeah. So it's opening up now. It's taking a while to open up. Yeah, it's coming up now. So all of you might not be able to hear the voice, but you will be able to understand what Krishna is trying to say. So please watch it. So here you see it's not a stone on this ground. This is a tortoise. This is a tortoise. You see now. So these tigers are coming to eat him. So you see, basically they are trying their best. Okay. Right. So they are trying their best to eat him. So Krishna is Krishna is giving this example. So he's saying that we should withdraw our senses from sense objects. Sense objects are there to kill our senses actually. But who withdraws his senses from the sense object, he is saved. Otherwise, sense objects, what they do? They will kill anybody. You see these drunkards, they keep drinking, ultimately diseased and die. So that the drink is the sense object. So similarly, all these addiction things, this social media, which is the most degrading sense object in today's world. What it does, it kills our senses completely, makes us lazy, and we gets deviated from what we want in our life. So in this example, we saw that Krishna is saying, no, we should refrain our senses from these sense objects, then only we could be saved and we will come into the position of perfect consciousness. So this is the last shloka of this. So this is the peace formula of today's session. It says, Nasti buddhir yuktasya na cha yuktasya bhavana na chava bhavata shantir shantasya kuta sukham. Kuta sukham. One who is not connected with the Supreme can have neither transcendental intelligence nor a steady mind, without which there is no possibility of peace. Krishna is saying that there is no possibility of peace. How we can get peace? By connecting with the Supreme. In Krishna consciousness can have neither transcendental intelligence if he is not connected with the Supreme. Because senses look for enjoyment. All senses cry for enjoyment. As soon as a person takes birth, then he immediately looks out for enjoyment. Like my 2-year-old daughter, she will always be crying for mobile phone. She says that I want to see pictures in mobile. Why she is crying? Because her eyes wants to look at good pictures. Similarly, all of us are looking for nice web series on social media, or probably we go to a restaurant to give satisfaction to our tongue. All our senses keep crying for pleasure, pleasure, pleasure. But we never get satisfied. Why? Because we are not connected with the Supreme. That is the reason. And that's what Krishna is saying. If we are not connected with the Supreme, there is no possibility of peace at all. And if there is no peace, then how can there be happiness? Krishna is saying. And how can there be happiness without peace? Kuta sukham. Kutaha sukham. Kuta sukham means how come there be happiness? Sukham means happiness. How come there be happiness in this world? So you see, in the society today, this is the missing link. What is the missing link? We are not linking ourselves with Krishna. We are linking ourselves with senses. And what would happen if we link ourselves with senses? Degradation of soul, and we are always dissatisfied in this world. So this was the last part, sustained happiness. So sustained happiness, we perform our 2 duties with determination and enthusiasm, and we fill the missing link. How do we fill the missing link? By understanding the message of Bhagavad Gita and by chanting Krishna's name. This is the summary of this chapter we covered today. We covered crisis management. Then we covered our real identity as a soul, and then we covered the 2 duties, that we have a duty of the soul, we have the duty of the body, and then we discuss the sustained happiness formula. What is that? To connect ourselves with Krishna by understanding his message, and in Bhagavad Gita by chanting his holy name, and take association of devotees. Okay. Is there any question or comment anyone want to discuss in this slide? If there is any question, we can quickly go over that. Please let me know. No question today. Yes, Nayamati, please.
There was one thing that you said was a subtle body goes along with the soul as we move.
Correct.
And the subtle body consists of intelligence, mind, and false ego. When we say intelligence, it's like the intelligence of the book smart intelligence that we have.
No,
or
spiritual intelligence.
Okay.
Spiritual intelligence, yes. So for example, today we are having this session and you developed some little understanding about Krishna, right? So for example, you understood that, oh, I think Krishna is God because we had that class, so much we discussed. I think he is God. So whatever, as much you will convinced about it, na, that much conviction will go with you life after life.
Okay.
Otherwise, it will be a total loss. For example, I am preparing to become a doctor and I become a doctor. Then in the next birth, I will have to prepare again to become a doctor, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that is a total loss. That's why Arjuna is asking Krishna in later chapters. We'll see in 4th chapter, Arjuna asks that you are asking me to practice this bhakti yoga, but it's a total loss if I will not get the perfection. If I will get another body after life, then Krishna says there is no loss at all. That's why you see in this world, some people, they accept spirituality and immediately they start picking up everything in practice. And some people takes a lot of time. Why so? Because they have their understanding from previous birth. So similarly, as much understanding and spiritual strength we will develop in this very birth. The next birth, when we will take another body, from there we will start again. We don't have to start ABCD again like we do in material education.
Okay.
Does it make sense?
Yeah, that works. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other question? Anandam Bro, I think you had one question. Was that answer?
The one I pasted in the chat box. Should we treat everyone as guests? And his developing emotional attachment with another person or another gender, is it wrong?
No.
Does that attachment can be detached, and how?
No, we should not detached in a fanatical way. See, think about it. If, for example, I'm taking care of my children, right? And then someone drops his children also at my home. I'm taking care of them also. But if I start taking care of them as my own children, would I be doing right? Because when the person will come to take his own children back, then I will start crying, isn't it? Right?
Correct.
And if I don't take care of them, would I not be titled as not responsible? As a responsibility, as a responsible citizen or responsible friend, I should be taking care of the children of my friend who dropped his children at my home. Right? So thing is that we have to understand that the responsibilities we are assigned with. For example, if I am a manager in a company, that's my responsibility. But if I consider that, oh, company is mine, and as I start going crazy after the work, as if company is mine, then that is a wrong understanding. But if I think, no, as a manager, Krishna has given me this responsibility. So to please Krishna, I should be doing my job properly. That is the right understanding. Similarly, I should be taking care of my wife, my children, in the sense that these living entities have been given to me to take care of. And if they will be pleased and they will not be happy, then Krishna will not be happy. So it is my responsibility to take care of them and to please them. Then only Krishna will be happy. So to please Krishna, I should be taking care of them very nicely. So that would be the right understanding of our duties, right? Otherwise, you see in this world, always we see that people keep crying for something or other. Crying is not, I would say, is not a sin. Crying is not a sin, but crying for wrong reason is a sin. I know the culture here, but in India, if a girl after marriage she is leaving, then mother is crying. Is she crying that girl should stay in her home back? No, right? Is she saying, no, I'm crying because you are getting married, you are going in your husband home, you should stay in my home? No, right? She also wants that, okay, now her daughter is mature enough, so she should live her life with her husband. Right? But she is crying out of her motherly emotions that her daughter is leaving her. So similarly, if we are crying for someone, that's not a sin. But if we're crying that, oh, person left us, he should be staying with us, that's not a right understanding. So it takes time. Once we'll go further, then we'll understand it more deeply. but I think I was able to answer some part of your question.
Yes, some part of the question is answered. Some part of the question is like, how do we define, say, suppose you and I are in connection and I develop my relationship with you and as a guru, and I get attached, and as a student you are getting attached, even though we are the same gender. Forget
Yes,
about the other, forget
I
about the
know.
opposite gender.
I know.
We're both same gender, we still have drawn lines in terms of respect, in terms of expectations.
Yes,
But I still have the right to develop my emotional attachment with you, because you're generating the wisdom within me and able to help me out, nurture my journey, and giving
yes.
me the right navigation. So how do I define that I should not, because after 5 years you leave me and you vanish, and I still my bhatakta rahunga. I will like wander in.
Roaming around.
Where is my guru? What happened? All these years he has given me the nectar. Today is not there. So at
Yes.
what stage should I actually put that boundary, that line, Lakshman ki rekha?
See, first of all, I want to tell you, I'm so happy you are asking all these questions, because Arjuna is in the same situation, and Arjuna is also asking the same question. That's where Krishna is replying. Krishna says that if you become fan of your ancestors, that, oh, my ancestors were like that, my ancestors were like, my grandfather was like that, then you will go to your grandfather. Wherever your grandfather went after that, you will go there. If you will worship, ghosts, some people worship ghosts, then you will go to ghosts. Wherever ghosts live, you will go there. If you will worship some demigods, someone in your family, for example, someone passed away, or someone who is still living, but after you became a fan, now he passed away, then you will go wherever he went after he passed away, after he left his body. For example, he left the body, he became elephant, then when you leave the body, you will also become elephant. And then Krishna says, if you will worship me and you cry for me after I leave, no problem. Why? Because even after you leave your body, you will not go to heaven, you will not go to hell, you will not take birth on this planet. You will come back to me. You will play with me, you will sing with me, you will dance with me. So your point is good, that if it is attachment is right and wrong. Attachment is not a problem, because that is the very nature of soul, to get attached with someone. That is the very nature of soul. Soul cannot live without attachment in this world. But the problem is wrong attachment. So if you are attached, you are getting attached with someone who is spiritual. Again, we have so many spiritual people in this world, right? Someone claim I am spiritual, but then they caught up in some, then police come, cops will come, they will catch him, put him behind the bars because he has done a lot of mischievous activities. So I'm talking about real spiritual people, the devotees of Krishna. If our attachment with those people, then that is a real attachment we should be having. Real attachment is with Krishna, with the devotees of Krishna, with the deities of Krishna. That's all we have to do actually, because there is no degradation after. Even if we leave the body, there is no degradation after. What would happen with the body if we have the attachment? Let's say a lot of disciples of our ISKCON founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada, a lot of disciples had attachment with him. After Prabhupada left his body, what happened with them? Let's say even if they are crying, they will follow Prabhupada. Prabhupada went home back to God. They will also go back home back to God. There is no loss. Right? That is a real attachment. You have to understand. So that's where your questions are very much encouraging for me also, because Arjuna is going to ask all these questions later on. He will keep asking all these questions. In fact, in the third chapter, he will not ask about soul. He will ask about duty only, like you are asking. We'll discuss them in detail more. Okay, yes, Poonam Mataji, you have a question? Poonam Mataji, you have a question? You are on unmute, so I thought if you have a question. Okay. Okay, so looks like we are good now. So we'll stop. I am very grateful to all of you that you joined and made the session successful. We'll meet. Sampath Pro, you have a question? You joined back? Okay. So yes, bro. Sorry. You're saying something? Something?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
Hare
So
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so very much for joining. See you all next week. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Jatna Mataji.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.